Previously, I started a new file on Pokemon Y, and played up to Lumio City past the first gym, where I camped out in the Pokemon Center and took on the Wonder Trade Gauntlet of a lifetime, both obtaining enough Pokemiles to get 99 rare candies to train a Pokemon to level 100, and completing the entire National Dex using Wonder Trades only. And out of all the nicknamed level 1 Pokemon I got traded, the Pokemon that got to reach level 100 through this was decided by Twitch chat in a great tournament of champions, where one Murkrow, #Murkrow, reigned victorious. And I think I forgot to show the footage of me even receiving that Murkrow in the video, so here's the footage of the trade real quick. #Murkrow, let's go! But anyway, I got that traded Murkrow all the way to level 100. And I also walked to Burger King and walked back home from Burger King in the process. And now, I'm back at Burger King to introduce the rest of the game, where we're going to be playing through the entirety of it all with this Disobedient level 100 Murkrow, which will be Disobedient up until we get our 8th and final badge from Wolfric. In the past, I did a similar victory lap with the team of Disobedient traded Pokemon in Let's Go Pikachu, but this time, I'm going at it solo, with just this one Murkrow. To give you a good idea of what this Crow and I are in for, in the Kalos games, these are the chances of a level 100 traded Pokemon obeying on any given turn, determined by a formula that takes into account the level of the traded Pokemon, the max Obedient level determined by the number of badges you have, and a random number generated between 1 and 256. So over time, Obedience will be more and more likely per turn, but the battles will get a lot harder than just one-shotting everything in the early game. So with that all said, let me lay down some additional rules I made up for this. I will not be using any other Pokemon, but I will have some of the runner-ups from the tournament bracket tag along and make guest appearances in the mandatory double battles along the way, but they won't be doing any moves in the process. I won't be using any items on Murkrow in battle. If Murkrow faints, I have to soft reset, and hopefully I'll remember to save before every battle. I'm sure I will though, I have great memory. Murkrow will not be holding any useful items, but I will make the exception for the Lucky Egg since it's going to need a lot of experience to get stronger and get through the rest of the game. I will not be using Pokemon Ami for this because of how absolutely busted a Pokemon becomes whenever it reaches max affection. This will increase the difficulty of this challenge greatly because I won't be able to give my Murkrow head pats after it defeats a Pokemon, which is very disappointing. I will be timing every battle to see which battle or consecutive set of battles takes the longest for this Murkrow to complete. And I'm going to stream this whole thing at twitch.tv/absoltastic. And I don't know why I'm speaking in the future tense right now because I already did all this before making this video. So without further ado, let's get into this and #C, #what, #this, #Murkrow, #can, #do, #period. Our run started off strong, leaving Professor Sycamore utterly speechless that we had a full dex already. Let's do our first battle. And this first battle was a great way to get accustomed to what happens when a Pokemon is disobedient in this generation because after the first couple Pokemon, my Murkrow disobeyed. A lot. But with only a 23.4% chance of it obeying every turn at this point in the game, that's to be expected. I quickly learned that this was going to be just like Let's Go Pikachu, where when a Pokemon disobeys, there's no chance of it using any of its moves. So the only time that disobedience will ever be beneficial to us is perhaps healing a status condition when it decides to go to sleep. But aside from that, we gotta hope for it to obey every turn. Thanks to Charmander's accuracy lowering smokescreen, this actually turned out to be one of the longer battles in the run. Luckily I still had Feint Attack to guarantee a hit, but it still took a while for Murkrow to decide to use it. Feint Attack, there we go. That is the Professor battle. After a long 7-minute battle, I defeated Sycamore, and picked Bulbasaur as my starter that I'm definitely going to use. Please choose a Pokemon to send to the PC box? Yeah, right. I'm not sending anything to the PC box. And then the journey continued. I had a double battle where I got to show off some of the other beloved members of the crew, including an ultra-beloved surprise special guest that didn't make it very far in the tournament. If Chungoose Jr. wasn't the winner, Chungoose Jr. will sit here with me. Let's see if we can avoid this boy. Boy avoided. It wasn't long until I opened up my item pack for the first time and realized how many insane items I had from transferring a lot of my Wonder Traded Pokemon to Bank, since the Pokemon were holding them when they got traded to me. In order to make best use of this, I gave my Murkrow the lucky egg so it could get more experience to level up more. Then we arrived at Grant's gym, the second gym, but the first gym that this Murkrow would take on, where we had very important business to tend to. We're going to one of the greatest features of X and Y, the benches. Look at this. You just get a bench where you get to sit down and look at a waterfall, and I think that's beautiful. The 3D feature doesn't even work here. You just sit on the bench and chill. So actually going into the Grant fight now, at first he seemed like not too tall of a mountain for us to have to climb. Murkrow was mostly obedient in this battle, and only took 3 turns to knock out both of his Pokemon. But surprisingly, my story with Grant doesn't end here, because something very unfortunate happened. Team Flare attacked, and they had the technology. Oh my gosh, we're getting destroyed! We're getting destroyed by this electric tricycle. I think we're about to wipe. I don't even remember the last time I saved. If we have to fight the second gym leader again, I apologize. I should save a little bit more often. No! I didn't save. So we're back at Grant again. And this time, Grant could fight. He had been training, and we were getting absolutely demolished by level 25 Rock-type Pokemon. We had climbed so high, but my Disobedient Crow wanted me to go back down and climb it again. And it might be worth noting I had a little bit of a handicap at the beginning of this battle. I was at half HP because I didn't feel like going back and healing beforehand, which I thought wouldn't be much of an issue, but I was proven wrong. On my 6th attempt, just when things were starting to look hopeless and I was about to reset the game, I was overcome with a certain feeling of confidence. This is the comeback of a lifetime, I can feel it right now. Let's go. Tyrant time. Our speed is super low. This thing might outspeed us at this point. No. Grant has fallen against all odds. That was looking like a reset right there. And so I got my Cliff badge and I actually remembered to save. Next, on the way to our next gym leader, Karina, we ran into the next gym leader, Karina, and had to battle her. And my Murkrow spent so much time asleep that an idea was hatched. Getting the Sleep Talk TM and trying to use that. Since Sleep Talk only works while the Pokemon's sleeping and randomly selects one of its moves, I wanted to see how exactly Obedience tied into this move. And both times I used it in the Karina fight, it worked. So I began to worry that I had just totally broken this whole run. But maybe there were other broken things for me to worry about, like this battle girl stopping and not challenging me to a battle, and the crazy earthquake that happened on the Holocaster. Whoa. But thankfully the game was not broken. Sleep Talk still does an obedience check, and it has some unique dialogue that I think is rarely ever seen. So Sleep Talk would remain as a niche combat option, for as long as Murkrow decided to keep taking naps, which was most of this run. It really liked taking naps. But fun fact, I don't like taking naps. In fact, I pretty much never take naps. When I was a kid, my parents sometimes called me No Nap Matt, and I don't know why I'm telling you this right now. Anyway, when I got to Shalor City, I crushed all of Trevor's hopes and dreams. Oh, they're about to get destroyed. Oh my gosh, I feel so bad for Trevor right now. He's like, let's compare our Coastal Kalos Pokédexes. Let's see who's seen more Pokemon. This guy's about to get annihilated. So you've seen 153 kinds of Pokemon. Yeah, get wrecked, little snot-nosed kid. I've seen Kangaskhan too. Yeah, I've seen Kangaskhan. Then it was time to get our third badge from Karina. Murkrow was fairly cooperative during this fight, and it even impressed me by not even flinching whenever Fake Out hit because it was too busy ignoring my orders. But we managed to get through this battle just fine, without too many mishaps. But after getting the badge, there was still another fight to do at the top of the Tower of Mastery, versus Karina in her successor form. But this battle's done with a Lucario that's fully obedient, so it was a total pushover. so I guess we can consider Karina succeeded. Then we moved on to the next gym. Look at this guy, able to juggle the shears at the spry age of 27. Ramos. The fight versus this grass-type leader, Ramos, wasn't too difficult, but it still took a couple tries, because I had very unfortunate luck versus his Go-Goat the first time I battled him. From what you just saw from that loss there, Sleep Talk introduced a pretty interesting dilemma. To pick Sleep Talk, or not to pick Sleep Talk in case Murkrow wakes up. Because on the off chance it wakes up and then obeys, there's a chance I might totally waste a turn by using Sleep Talk while it's awake. But when it comes to decision making and wasting turns, I was still yet to make the worst decision in this run.
You can't take things too quickly when it comes to forming friendship with your Pokemon, Sprout.
I bet he gives you like a Werther's Original, or one of those like strawberry candies too with the badge. After defeating Ramos, I got to check out some of the content that I'm looking forward to seeing in the upcoming Pokemon Z, the definitive version of X and Y that's definitely happening. Defeated some more Team Flare and their higher-ups teams of one Pokemon, and arrived back in Lumiose. Okay, we're in Lumiose City and... And here I finally had access to the Lotto ID, which I had a pretty good shot at winning since I had so many Wonder Traded Pokemon. But I didn't manage to get the Master Ball. And then I arrived at Clement's gym, where I realized he had been watching the stream and watched the tournament bracket, so he knew I was using Murkrow for this challenge, and was very well prepared to thwart my plans. Oh, this one's hard. I think it might be this one. I'm a little bit torn between these two right now. After some intense analysis, I finally reached the battle with Clement, and this proved to be the hardest battle in the challenge so far. There were layers to what made this fight so difficult. First of all, he liked to set up electric terrain, and normally Pokemon standing on electric terrain can't sleep, which would be great, but Murkrow is technically flying type, so the terrain's effects don't apply to it, so it can still take naps here. And it'll take massive damage from any Thunderbolt that hits. Also, this Magneton was not going to go down in one hit, leading to countless resets. All it took were 2 turns for my Murkrow to get just fried by this thing. And if I were to knock it into the range where it would endure the hit with Sturdy, Clement would immediately use a Hyper Potion and fully restore its HP again the next turn, making us have to take this thing out in 3 turns instead of 2. So my plan was to go for Astonish, hope for a flinch, and then Feint Attack. But even when things went as planned, this wasn't even Clement's ace, Heliolisk. And I hate to say it, but 23 minutes into this, I decided I needed to break one of the rules in order to progress here. I changed Murkrow's held item to something a little bit more useful. I think we'll go with this one though. We're gonna try it out with the Gardevoirite. And only a few minutes after equipping this extremely useful item, I finally managed to thread the needle and get the perfect run on Clement that I was looking for. And it's all thanks to the Gardevoirite that my Murkrow was holding. At 31 minutes and 9 seconds, this was the longest battle of the run so far. But would it go on to hold that title? You'll find out. And it was right after this battle that I made the worst decisions in the run. Alright, now we're going to teach Fly to Murkrow, and my second mistake after that was dressing up as Tierno. But we wouldn't see the fruit of our mistakes without first dunking on Trevor. This guy, he won in a Pokédex comparison contest, but he doesn't even know what's coming, because we're about to destroy him in the Mountain Kalos Pokédex right now. I've seen 151. All 151 available. Get wrecked. I've seen Gibble too. I've obtained the entire line. Then after that, I made the realization that in order to use Fly, I had to pass 2 obedience checks, making it quite possibly one of the worst moves I could pick in this entire run. Oh no, we did make it harder! It like flew into a tree and crashed or something. Oh no. So, knowing that Fly was going to make things a lot more difficult, I reluctantly took on the next gym leader, Valerie. And I was expecting another very tricky battle, just like the Clement fight, since Fairy types are super effective against Dark types. But I forgot to take one very important thing into account. Just having good luck. And on my very first try, Murkrow just absolutely knocked it out of the park, even hitting the move Fly. After that, Twitch chat decided we would do a sky battle, which might be one of the most pointless features in any Pokemon game to ever exist. And you'll have to see how that went. I was almost certain I could use hashtag Murkrow for this since it's flying type and takes place in the sky, and I was looking forward to seeing it stand on air with its idle animation. So we got Cryogonal up there. Wait, no, we can't use Murkrow in this. Never mind. And next up was the Psychic type gym leader Olympia. Despite being at a type advantage here, this was going to be a battle where every time we disobeyed, we were going to face some major consequences, because her team liked to use Calm Mind. First try, I went down to Slowking, but second try, I managed to clutch it all out. Both Valerie and Olympia went down so much more easily than Clement did, and at this point I was convinced that Clement was going to be the longest fight in the run. But this all just proved to be the calm before the storm. Between the 5th and 7th gym, there were hardly any interesting battles, and I just kinda cut to the gym leader battles because there wasn't really all that much that happened. But I can't say the same about what happens between the 7th and 8th gyms. My introduction to this part of the game was a battle with Lysander, and it served as the perfect introduction to this part of the game, where everyone has 4 Pokemon, because it's, I guess, against Kalos law to have more than 4 Pokemon on you if you're an NPC trainer, and nothing was going down in one hit. And after 11 minutes of attempts and a Murkrow mirror match for the history books, Lysander went down. But, of course, this was only the first of many Lysander fights. The next big challenge came in the form of the battle versus Celosia and Brioni, who would later turn their lives around in the 7th gen of Pokemon. What was difficult about these battles was I had to do both of these battles back to back and could not save after winning the first one. Winning the first battle versus Celosia was difficult as is, since the Manectric would usually paralyze me and was super powerful, and the Drapion had great defensive typing versus the Murkrow. But also take into account the 2 dark types Brioni has, and this could easily become a nightmare. Within the first 5 minutes, I got pretty lucky and got to see what the Brioni fight was like, but I went down to Bisharp. And then I lost to Celosia over and over at least 15 times for the next 30 minutes. There was no strategy, only just hoping that the RNG would bless me. This lady's destroying me. And the RNG was extra crazy with Drapion's Acupressure. Alright, if this thing Acupressures and doesn't get defense, and this fly goes through next turn, and it got defense. It's gonna get defense again next turn. Regardless of whether or not this fly goes through, this is a defense boost, I'm calling it. I called it, I have Psychic Powers. After 47 minutes, I finally found a way to channel my Psychic Powers into Murkrow, which was really hard because Psychic Powers don't work on Dark-type Pokemon, and I got it to use Fly on Drapion twice, which would knock out Drapion as long as it didn't get some crazy defense boosts from Acupressure, which it was using a lot. And at long last, I ended the battle with Celosia. But I still had to beat Brioni if I wanted to move on. It's not over. It's far from over. Now we have to fight the evolved form of Popplio, Brioni. And in this fight, I just needed semi-decent luck to win. Liepard really wasn't too much of an issue. Even though it resists all of my moves except for Fly, it was still relatively weak and couldn't really do much damage to me anyway. But Bisharp was where things got a little bit scary, because it got a crit on me. But I also gave it a crit of my own. And finally, after 50 minutes of these 2 battles, we did it. Oh my gosh, that was 50 minutes. But the crazy battles didn't end there. In Geosenge Town, we've battled Lysander again. At first, luck seemed to be on my side. That was a crit, okay. That was a crit too, okay. We need a miracle right now. There we go. Feint attack coming through yet again. That was another crit. But Honchkrow had something else to say about that. Can't win them all. But after those insane crits, I went over 40 minutes without even seeing Honchkrow again. So I had to rethink my strategy. I ended up teaching Murkrow the return TM over Sleep Talk, because it wasn't taking power naps nearly as often at this point. And despite how it disobeys my every command, this Murkrow really does believe in the power of friendship. Oh, return might be busted here. And thus, we had a new strongest move for Murkrow. I actually thought its friendship level would be pretty low because of how many times it's fainted, but I had forgotten in the moment that every time it fainted I reset the game, so effectively to this Murkrow, it's never fainted in battle once. Honchkrow remains. Return? The return strat? Return to sender? We did it! We did it! Return did it, man! That's what's up. But this still wouldn't be the last time we hear from Crazy Dude with polygons in his hair. And we'd be going up against him again, after first capturing the inferior Dark Flying type that definitely doesn't have a hashtag in front of its name, Yveltal. So I caught it in literally the first quick ball that I threw, and I named it Quirky when I asked the chat what to name it, because someone typed in Quirky, probably as a nature guess, like they would do if I found a shiny Pokemon, so I just named it that. What a nerd. But we wouldn't have Quirky for very long. Immediately after capturing Yveltal, without even getting the opportunity to save, you must fight Lysander. And this battle is arguably harder than the last one we did because he actually Mega Evolves his Gyarados. And it likely takes place on the surface of the sun. So add that in to also having to catch the legendary every time we reset, and we're in for a brutal fight. So let me document our fallen Yveltal comrades. George. Farewell, George. Pickles. Lost to the sands of time.
I've had over 40 pizzas in the last 30 days.
This next Yveltal will be named after whatever I shiny roll right here. 1812. That is actually crazy, because the song that I played in the Pokemon X movie during this part of the game was the 1812 Overture. We caught it! We caught it, dude! Let's go! 1812. And on a fated run like that, where RNG decided the name and it actually kind of meant something, RNG also decided the run here, and made it really mean something. Lysander's first 3 Pokemon were pretty much no different from the first time we fought him, but Gyarados was the biggest mountain for us to climb here, the hardest one to fight, especially since it takes on the Dark typing whenever it becomes a Mega. But this is how we pulled through. Crit! We did a critical hit! Let's go, man! Less than an hour. Dude, he spiked that thing like someone who just lost a Smash set and spikes their GameCube controller into the ground. What a loser. Sometimes you just hear like someone come off of a setup after losing a set and you just hear them like scream, and then you just hear a controller sound and everyone in the venue just turns around. Then, since I didn't need this loser Dark Flying type legendary Pokemon, I threw it up on the GTS, requesting a Gulpin to see who from the chat would be able to trade it first. And in return, we got this beautiful specimen and friend. I'm glad that it was able to be useful for you. And its name is Gary! I like that. Chungoose's pal, Gary. I really didn't know what was about to happen at this point. I had my sights set on the final gym badge versus Wolfric, which was our ticket to a fully obedient Murkrow, but I totally overlooked the set of 3 battles on the bridge versus your friends and rivals. And that was a fatal mistake. These are 3 consecutive battles with no saving in between, with each trainer having 3 Pokemon, which is actually a lot for X and Y. And this set of battles would be the ultimate test of patience, resilience, and obedience. I'm sure anyone who was there could tell you just how brutal this bridge stream was. And they'd be selling it short. Oh no! Oh no, the flame body? Shauna's Delcatty had Charm, which would lower Murkrow's attack and make it pretty much useless for the rest of the battle. Her Chestnut knew Spiky Shield, which often foiled my plans in attacking and made me take more damage even when Murkrow obeyed. Tierno's Talonflame and Crawdaunt both knew Swords Dance, so if they were given one turn to set up, they could become pretty deadly. And his Crawdaunt was pretty tanky. His Talonflame had Flame Body, which could burn me for the rest of battle and lower my attack stat, and his Roserade had Poison Point, which could poison me. And also, this Roserade literally only knows the move Petal Dance, which is kind of funny. Trevor's entire team was super effective versus Murkrow in some way, and his Raichu was bent on paralyzing me with both Static and Nuzzle. I guess this was his revenge for me dunking on him so much with the Pokédex. Once I got an hour into attempting these battles, I finally deleted Fly from my Murkrow and re-taught it Wing Attack, because I was losing my sanity watching it miss over and over again. I think I was already starting to lose my mind though. What if this whole time it hasn't been Goodra? What if it's just been Goodra? Like, standing for Good Dragon. I don't know if y'all will be happy or sad with this. This will be the final attempt. And when I said that, I was referring to it being the final attempt of the night, because I needed to go to bed and it was already well past midnight. And I had spent the entirety of this stream on this bridge. But maybe there was a double meaning to it being the final attempt. Or maybe I'm just trolling you with this right now. But for now, you'll have to watch the rest of this final attempt unabridged. Except for me, like, speeding it up a little bit and editing. I just really wanted to make an unabridged pun. And Shauna goes down. That's part 1 of the run. We didn't get burned by Talonflame. That's a thumbs up. We knocked out Crawdaunt. Somehow, we must have gotten a high roll. That's a thumbs up. We wing attack the Roserade. That is a certified thumbs up. And we get poisoned, but that literally doesn't even matter. It could end in a second with any of these, though. These are some tough Pokemon. That's it. The perfect Trevor run. Just barely over 2 hours. Take that, nerd. 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 Alright, now the 4th battle comes in and it's Lysander again. Then, one final battle remained before Murkrow would become fully obedient. And that was the actual final gym battle itself versus Wulfric. The night I did this battle, I thought my capture card had broken, but it turns out I just needed to reinstall the software for it. But for the time being, I just used my actual camera for this, so that's why the setup looks a little bit different this night. Look at that frozen Murkrow. Thing looks mean. Staring that Abomasnow down, it does not look happy. It's like... Wulfric did prove to be a pretty challenging fight though, because his Ice-type moves were super effective against Murkrow. And I hit a pretty big wall in the form of his Avalugg. Oh my gosh, that's abysmal. Avalugg's defense stat is huge, and all of my Murkrow's attacking moves were physical. Defeating this thing in our current state actually felt impossible. So I spent about 20 minutes backtracking to Terminus Cave and getting the TM for the special move Shadow Ball. And on my 24th attempt of this battle, finally using a counter for the first time to show my number of attempts, by the way, and an hour and 15 minutes, I was finally able to take down Wulfric, the final disobedient battle of this run. An hour and 15 minutes. And we've won. That's it. The Avalugg has fallen. But okay, we've defeated every gym leader now, meaning that hashtag Murkrow is no longer disobedient. It is now fully, to say what someone else said earlier, hashtag Crowbedient. So now we have a real victory lap. All we have to do is take on the Pokemon League and win the game now, which will be so easy now since the Murkrow will actually listen to everything I say. And it was pretty easy except for the Wickstrom battle. The Wickstrom battle was pretty awful, and I ended up breaking pretty much every rule of the run in this battle alone. First of all, I equipped Murkrow with the Eviolite, so it would be a little bit stronger versus his attacks. And second, I did end up using an item in battle, but I think it was a pretty clever way to get around Aegislash's King's Shield. Pokeball go. King's Shield. And then I used a healing item when I got the Scizor as well too. But this is a Disobedient Murkrow challenge, not an Obedient Murkrow challenge. I'm just having fun at this point. My Obedient #Murkrow would then go on to defeat the rest of the Elite Four in one try with no issues whatsoever. It was just Wickstrom that was tough. And then it was time to fight the champion, Diantha. The Pokemon that had previously accompanied me on this journey alongside this #Murkrow had been deposited in the PC, because this was a battle for only this crow to bear witness to. And let me tell you, this crow turned things up all the way. Oh my gosh. First try Diantha. That was so easy. Imagine spending 40 minutes on Wickstrom and then that. So it was then time to check out the Hall of Fame. What a Hall of Fame. And then I had one more thing I wanted to do on this run. So I went to the station in Lumio City to get my national dex. To check and make absolutely for certain that I really did complete the entire national dex through Wonder Trade only. And I saw the golden number, 721, so I did. So with that, I can say that the Wonder Trade Gauntlet is now truly fully complete. At least within the 6th generation. I'm almost definitely going to do something like this again in a future gen, just probably not anytime soon. But for the time being, I still have a few more boxes of Deerling that I'm going to trade out, so I might still do a few more Wonder Trade streams in the future. And thanks so much for watching this Victory Lap video. It honestly turned out a lot longer than I thought it would be, but I still had fun making it, and I hope you had fun watching it. And now if you'll excuse me, I'm going to start working on my next project, which is editing a gauntlet that I already finished the gameplay for. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll hopefully see you soon with that.